Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to put the bed on my truck and I'm going to show you what I ultimately chose as a way of mounting it on there. So stay tuned, I'll see you in a few. Okay, you know when these trucks were new and they rolled off the assembly line, the bed was mounted with these wood blocks, and you had holes in the center on the blocks that went to the front of the bed, and then the blocks at the back were offset because the frame, narrows down from the back to the front. So you can buy these blocks, but I just made them. It's pretty easy. I just glued some wood together. I think there's 3 pieces of wood here, and I'll leave the dimensions of these in the description for you, because once you have that, you can make these really easy, and they basically cost nothing, so that's a good deal. And so that was the original factory deal, and originally I was going to use that. I had no reason not to, and then I decided to box the frame in, and when I boxed the frame in, I had no way of accessing the nut from inside the frame. So I came up with an idea, and the idea that I came up with when I was going to keep these was, if you come down here to the bottom, I'll show you what I did. There's a hole down here, really large hole, and it's exactly a little bit bigger than a 9/16 socket. So my idea was the bolt would come through like this, it would go down, and I would put a nut on the socket and fit it up in there and tighten it. I really didn't want the bolt to be long and stick down and have a nut showing, because I just thought that would look tacky. So that's how I was going to get around it with a boxed frame. And then, the more I thought about it, the more I don't know, I just decided I wanted to do something just a little cooler, a little different. So let me show you what I came up with. So my first idea, and I quickly changed on as, was I was going to take some 2-inch square tube, okay, and these are 2 1/8. That's the dimension, and this is 2-inch, obviously. So what I was going to do is I was going to cut this to size, take a piece of steel washer, and just tack it on there, and then I would end up with, and I would cut it to the width that it's supposed to be so it fits on the frame, okay? And then I would just set these on the frame, pretend like this is the frame rail. I would just set it on the frame like that and just weld it on both sides, okay? And then the bed would sit on it with a rubber pad, and a bolt would go through, and I would just reach in here and tighten the nut with a ratchet. And that was what I was going to do. And I thought, we can do better than that. So I took a piece of 2x3 tubing that I had. I think this is 3/16 wall. So, and then I cut off a piece, okay, the same width as the block of wood, but it's obviously way taller than it needs to be, okay. Then what I did is I cut the tube off like that, and then just sanded these edges until I ended up with a metal spacer that was the same height as the wood block. Okay, drilled a hole in the center, and here's one of the cross sales, just to give you a visual. And so your carriage bolt would come up through like that, and then the metal piece would drop down on, okay, but you would have a rubber washer in there first, and this would drop down on, and you could get after the nut from inside the frame, and it's super clean, and that's what I went with. So let me show you over at the truck what it looks like. Let me get a block of wood, because I gotta have this to show you. Okay, so got my block of wood, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this off here and take my piece out that I made and just put that in for now to hold it in place. So here's what I ended up doing. I drilled a hole and I decided to slot the hole. Now, the bed mounting kit that you get, the bolts that go with this that fit into these square holes, they're 3/8 carriage bolts. And I decided to do this at 7/16 just to give me a little more wiggle room, and that way I could adjust, you know, from side to side if I needed to, or front to back a little bit. And so I'd recommend you slot the holes on your brackets. It's just really hard. You know, you drill like a precise 3/8 hole, and then you do and you get all 4 of them, actually all 6 of them to line up perfectly is really a challenge. And then not only that, but a challenge so that it lines up with the cab and all of that. So slotting holes, I think it's a good deal. And then, so this would go, lift this off of here. Try not to drop it on my arm. And then the rubber piece would go under there. And then your bolt would go through. And then I already tried it with a ratchet. And you can fit the ratchet right in there perfectly and then tighten the nut. So I did test it and it did work. So I wanted to let you know about that. And then what I thought I would do is when I got ready to weld these in, so I'd spend like a whole bunch of time measuring, right? And then when everything was square and the cab was where I wanted it and the bed and everything and all the dimensions were right, I take just a piece of steel, all right, and I'd slide it up against this bracket, okay, and then I take a clamp and I just clamp it to the frame like that. And I would get 4 clamps and 4 pieces of steel, right? And I do the back ones here and then the one on the other side and that one. And that way I would know exactly where these went, okay? Then I'm gonna go ahead and lift the bed off the truck again, remove these, and then weld up these holes because we don't need them anymore and it looks tacky. So weld those up, grind them smooth, and then because these blocks of steel are here, I know exactly where these mounting pedestals go. I would just slide them up to it, clamp them down, weld them on both sides, and it would look beautiful. So I did want to mention these rubber gaskets that I got here. I made them out of a truck mud flap. You can make a lot of gaskets out of a truck mud flap. I use these on the cab of the truck, on the core support of the radiator. I paid $9 for this rubber mud flap, and I just cut them with a razor knife, and then I use my handy dandy Harbor Freight hole punch. It punches right through the rubber, makes a nice clean hole, and then you can make these really inexpensively, and you can make them at any size you want. So again, this works really good. Just wanted you to know about that little tip because it's just really handy. So let's see, I covered that and that, and you know what? I think that's it. So, gosh, it's been great sharing this stuff with you, and I would really appreciate it if you would like and share and subscribe. I want my channel to grow. I want to put out really more quality videos for you guys and help you in your fabrication projects. Again, it's been great, and I'll see you next time. This is Idaho Fabricators signing off.